Author DL Tillery here, the Mistress of Horror, and welcome back to my channel. Before we get started, how about you press that subscribe button and hold that like to the end, because who knows, you may or may not like this video. And ring that bell so you know when I'm uploading new videos. Alright, and I'm back for the next part of my book tour, book collection series. The books you see in the shop right now are not the books that will be covered today. We're going to be going paperbacks. And as I told you, that's going to be a bit of a journey because of the amounts that I have and how I have to have them currently. So we're going to jump right into it. It's a little bit of a long video, in my opinion, for this type of video. But do bear with me. I do one shelf in this series, in this video, because it's still a lot of books. Actually, we're going to go through 69 titles, and that's so fun. I told you paperback, I have a lot of them, and that's one shelf, and that particular shelf is going to have 4 shelves, not including the top of the bookcase. Alright, so let's go ahead and jump on in. Hey everyone, I'm back for the next episode in my book collection series. Now, I decided to go with one of my shorter shelves, but it's packed with paperbacks. So this is the first steps into the paperback part of my collection, which I did let you know is a bit extensive. In my mind, I don't think so. Some would say, but it's so many that I have to have them stacked on some of the shelves. So bear with me through this. Now, first up on the very top of the shelf is the collection of Game of Thrones. So this one is not open because I have open copies of this. So it's the box set and it's paperback, but see here, the Song of Fire is what I meant to say. We all like to call it Game of Thrones, but it is Song of Fire series. So, yep, that's the 4. So you have Game of Thrones, Clash of Kings, Storm of Swords, Feast of Crows, and Dance with Dragons. So that starts off the paperback shelf, and let's go ahead and move on down to the first shelf. Alright, so as you can see, as I mentioned, how I have them stacked here, because they are 2 levels deep on this shelf. In these paperbacks, I would say that I have a lot of romance novels, some fantasy obviously, and a little bit of horror, but most of are romance writers and fantasy writers. So let's go ahead and get through this. So what I plan to do is I'm going to pull down this top row here and then go through each one individual. Alright. Okay, so I'm sitting on the floor because that's the only way I can get to this in a timely manner. See, the books I'm going to be doing are from this first top shelf here. And I pulled it down already, and you see there's another layer right behind where that one was. Alright, so let's go ahead and start with the first row. Alright, first up is The Heart of Justice by William J. Connelly. Paperback here. Back. And a romance novel. Rosalind Alsobrook. Very interesting last name. I don't see it too often. Wild Western Bride. Now, a lot of my romance novels I actually got from my adopted grandmother, who has now passed away. When she would get book lots and books, she would give them to me, and I would read mostly all of these. Here's Star Trek. So obviously I'm a Star Trek fan. Star Trek: The Next Generation, Descent. I don't know if it has author, because it might be, let me see here. Novel by Diana Carey, based on Descent Part 1, story by Jerry Taylor. Telepay by Ronald D. Moore, and based on Descent Part 2, written by Rena Alquivar. I don't know how to say the last name, but okay. But yes, it's a lot of authors involved in this one because of being based off of type of situations. And please ignore the knocking in the background. That would be my ceiling fan. And let's just say I would pass out if I didn't have it on in this room. So, alright, a Heather Graham paperback, The Cursed. To Tempt an Angel by Patricia Grasso. It's a romance novel. Duh. I have a good amount of works from Heather Graham, the one I did before, and then Patricia. I don't have a lot of her stuff, actually. That makes me curious. It's been so many years. Another Star Trek, Balance of Power by, interesting first name, Dafta Abhug. I think this is Hugh. A lot of interesting names, especially with the authors through Star Trek. As you've seen this author on one of my other shelves of my hardbacks, Judy DeVrix, An Angel for Emily. And there's Judy. And of course, you're going to see a lot of Nora Roberts in my paperback collection. Nora Roberts' Sweet Revenge. And then we have Nora Roberts' Honest Illusions. Bloodstains The Searchers by Sharon Sella. Now the Nora Roberts Black Rose, that's quite a well-known one. Petals on the River by Kathleen E. Woodsmith. Interesting last name. I haven't heard it too often. Alright, so this one's flipped. Nora Roberts, Sweet Rains. It's a little thicker paperback, as you can see. Paperbacks do range in all this page-wise. Alright, and Fern Michaels and Finders Keepers. I like the name of that one. Alright, so let's grab down that row that was behind this row. Okay, I pulled down the shelf, the books from the back part of the shelf, and this here is still 2 layers deep of paperbacks. So I think I'm going to do one shelf at a time for these because there's so many. The first ones I just did, that was 14 paperbacks. So let's go ahead and start on the second row that was behind it. Okay, so first up is Linda Lee Miller, McKettrick's Choice. It's a nice size paperback too. Hannah Howell, Reckless. Romance novel, obviously. Alright, and then, pardon me, I'll back up here. Deborah McComber, which you've seen some of her books on my hardback shelves. Morning Comes Softly. Another Nora Roberts, Winner Takes All. Okay, and then Patricia Small, Wild Jasmine. You see this taking a little bit beating over the years. It's older. It's a pretty good one actually. Then we have Matt Brown, A Distant Land. I think this was a Western, if I recall. It's been a minute. Nora Roberts, The Stankowski Brothers. It's a series where you go through 2 complete novels, and you got Michael and Alex, so 2 brothers that story. And we have this is large print. I guess the wording in there might be. It's an inspirational romance. Love Inspired. To Love Again by Bonnie K. Winnie. Now the Deborah McComber, Susanna's Garden. J.D. Robb, Promises in Death. I'm sure I have a hardback version of this as well. Obviously, I like J.D. Robb. Alright. Then we have Lindsay McKenna, Taking Fire. It's a romance novel. Nice action in that one. Emily Richards, Rising Tides. Luann Rice, The Secret Hour. I do like that cover with the lighthouse on it. It's nice. And look, Hostile Land here. Death Land by James Alexander, Emerald Fire. As you can see, something's happening here. It's my type of story. So, yep. A lot of these are used books too, so I don't mind a damaged book if I find it interesting enough when I go to the used bookstores. I like books to find new homes. Then we have Star Trek: The Next Generation, Perchance to Dream, the novel, a new novel, zoom in, by Howard Winston. All right, so that's the back row. So let's work on the front row of this shelf. All right, I pulled down the first row already so that we can go through those. So that is the back row you're seeing there. The last row that I did from the top stacked ones, that one was 15. So we're already at about 29 paperbacks. And then the front row that I pulled down is 20 paperbacks. So we're going to be going through quite a lot of books for this episode. All right, let's get started on that next row. All right, so here is the front row I talked about. I pulled down already, and it's a long one. That's the 20 right there in the center. Yeah, so many paperbacks. I did tell you that it was going to be kind of funny or fun going through all these. All right, let's start going through these. All right, so first up is another Star Trek, Death Count, a new novel by L.A. Griff. See, Star Trek down. And we have Stephen King's Dolores Claiborne, a classic. Obviously, it's a bestseller, though. I don't think I have a hardback version of this, so I think it's the only copy of Dolores Claiborne I own. One of my Star Wars books, The Last Command, as you know, 3 of a 3-book cycle. Author by Hugo Award-winning author Timothy Zahn. Oh, that's right, but Disney said these aren't canon. But yeah, I think they reiterated on that. I think they might have took that back. So they are canon again, or some such thing. Who knows with Disney. All right. Then we have Samantha James, A Perfect Bride, best-selling author of Trusted Hearts, of the Trusted Hearts heart. All right, all right through. Did we already do? Yeah, we did do this. I have 2 copies of this one because I had bought it and then my grandmother gave me a copy. So that's again Linda Lee Miller, McKettrick's Choice. So that happens often. I think that one, you can see the difference because it's down here. See how it's worn? The lines, you can see which one I read. That was the one I had purchased. And when she had hers, I don't know if she even read this one, but it's not worn at all. As you can see on the side, like not worn. So, all right. I have a nice dictionary in here, a classic one about Dictionary of Computer Internet Terms. This is old, so these terms no longer even matter for the most part. This is a 5th edition of that. It's still in really nice condition as well. It's kind of funny to go back and look at some of the internet terms and stuff that they had back in the day. This is more than 1,800 key computer terms with definitions. It includes hundreds of words and expressions that apply specifically to the internet. Yep. Actually, I'm curious to see what year that is. I cannot recall off the top of my head. Let's see, they usually have it in the front. What year is 1996? Yeah, 1996. So that's not going to be really relevant in today's world. The things constantly change, especially with that lingo. All right. Teresa Dare, Say Yes to the Marcus. Castles Ever After. I'm assuming that's from a series. I don't know. I haven't read any more but this one, so it could very well be. All right, then we have a Star Trek, Next Generation, The Peacekeepers, a novel by Jean Duas. Nora Roberts coming up. A Little Magic. Another Linda Lee Miller. She likes some westerns. Montana Creed's Logan. So it's based like on one dude at a time usually, or maybe two. I've only read a few of these, so here's another one for you. Here she comes again. Linda Lee Miller, Willow. I said it all like it's a horror, but it's not. Alright. Nora Roberts up. Gregory's. Serena and Kane. Charmed Lives, Faded Romances. Obviously a romance novel. Nora Roberts has so many books, like, respect to her, how many books that she has. R.A. Salvatore, The Demon Awakens. As you know, my favorite fantasy author. I do have other books by him besides Dritz. I had to put this in 2 stacks. It's going to fall over. Christina Dole, Once a Night. I liked this one a lot, actually. I'm reading it, as you can see, how I read it in the lines. Historical romance. Nora Roberts, Heaven and Earth. This is second in the captivating new Three Sister Island trilogy. I'm quite sure I have all of these. That was the first time in print. Next up, then we have The Chase by Lindsay Sands. I really do like Lindsay Sands. Great romance writer. Of course, Dan Brown's Angels and Demons. I have a few versions of this. Definitely a hardback. There's that knocking of the fan. Calm down, fan. I'm still here. Linda Howard, Sarah's Child. Then another Nora Roberts, Born in Shame. First time in print as well. Last one on this row is going to be by Debbie McCobb. Sooner or Later. Very catchy title. Alright, and that means we are down to the last row from this shelf. Let's pull her down. Alright, so I pulled them all down, stacked them. As you see, we're getting just surrounded by books here. So this is the last row. As you can see, I pulled it down. And we'll get started right into this. I counted the ones on this shelf, total 69 books on this one shelf. Each shelf is going to be different because of the paperback vary in size. They really do. So, yeah. Alright, let's get started. Connelly Taylor. Wild is My Love. Karen Kay. The Princess and the Wolf. I've read this one, of course. Most of the ones with romance, Native American novels. I've read quite a few of those. Obviously, being Native American, I do check them out. But sometimes I'm like, But anyway, so here's one. We have another one right after that. Casey Edwards, Silver Wing. Some of these names are very, like, obvious. Okay. Alright. Deborah Ringley, Some Like It Sinful. I might be one of them. Alright. Nora Roberts, Face the Fire. Star Trek, The Next Generation, Possession by J. M. Dellard and Kathleen O'Malley. Susan Wiggs, The Summer Hideaway, The Lake Shore Chronicles. Romance novel. Look at how peaceful they look on the boat. Alright. A Share, this title was really like, A Share of Earth and Glory by Kathleen Gills. Her fate was tied to the men she loved, her destiny to the land she left behind. Okay, that's an oldie, as you can see. Alright. Noah Roberts, Night Tales. Oh, Night Shift, Night Shadow. We're getting overstacked, so let's move this pile. It's called the book dance, guys. The book dance. The book dance. Alright. Judy Devrex. Devrex. I always mess up her name. The Summer House. Alright. Next up is Carola Naggers. The Stonebrook Cottage. And I usually say her name like that as to not say it similar to the other word it sounds like. Noah Roberts, Blue Smoke. David Baldech, Our Game. I think I have a hardback of that. Martha Hicks, Mail Order Man. I'm not even saying anything. Catherine Stone, Another Man's Son. Deeply emotional, truly romantic. That's a pretty good book. Noah Roberts again, Jewels of the Sun. Amanda Quick, Scandal. Oldie. This oldie, I read it obviously. Torn up on the side. And here's some horror for you. Resident Evil, City of the Dead, S.D. Perry. Casey Edwards, Bold Wolf. As you know, another Native American romance. And last on that shelf is Alison Brenna, See No Evil. Well, that was the last book on that shelf. Empty as she goes. And again, we're looking at 69 books from that one shelf. As you can see, that this series is going to go a little bit, because the next one has similar amounts of books on it. And then we have the bottom shelf, but doesn't, well, this might be similar as well, but less than these, because these are bigger shelves. So I will see you all in the next episode. All right, I hope you enjoyed my tour. The second shelf will be coming in the next video for this series. And I hope you all are enjoying my lovely tour. I'm having fun showing you my collection. It's very interesting also myself to go through the books after some years. After you've read them, you put them back on the shelf, and sometimes you don't reread some of them. So it's also a nice tour for myself. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Have fun collecting and reading.